Hi everybody, this is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange. Hope you and yours are well. This week's Torah portion is a combination of two portions, Tazria and Metzora. It's also Rosh Chodesh, the new month of the Hebrew month of Iyar, the second of the 12 months of the Jewish calendar year. The Parsha discusses the consequences of our behavior, especially if we speak Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara means speaking ill about other people, especially unnecessarily. Imagine a world where there wasn't any National Enquirers or Star or Globe. Why do we need to know all this information about other people? And why do we need to know information about our friends if it's not relevant to us at all? Usually not. So the Chavetz Chaim, the holy Chavetz Chaim, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Cohen Kagan, wrote a master work called the Chavetz Chaim, teaching us the laws of when we can and cannot speak about other people. And many of his works have been translated. There's a wonderful organization called the Chavetz Chaim Heritage Foundation that translates his works in very accessible English so that we can understand how and when and why we can and cannot say what we're saying, talking about other people. And now we're also during the time of the counting of the Omer. And the counting of Omer is a partial mourning period for the Jewish people because the great Rabbi Akiva of old had 24,000 students that unfortunately, on their spiritual level, did not treat each other with the right respect. And because of that, they died and we mourn their loss. So it's a time that we have to work on self-improvement, on caring for other people and feeling for other people and treating others with respect. And there's a powerful Hasidic story that I'd like to share with you. The conclusion of it happened in 1988 with a great rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Mandel of the city of Bnei Brak in Israel. He needed emergency surgery. And he was hesitant to take it, even though the doctor said he had to do it, until he had to ask a rabbi that the rabbi should agree that he should do it. But it was late at night and his family wasn't sure what to do. And then suddenly he changed his mind, I'll do the surgery. And he did the surgery. And after the surgery, he had a remarkable recovery. And his son-in-law was saying, how did this happen? How did this happen? And he said, a doctor came in before the surgery and said, by the way, where's your pain? Here. He said, okay, don't worry. In 4 days, you'll be out of the hospital. Everything's going to be great. It's going to stop hurting now, and you'll be fine after the surgery. And that's what happened. And the son-in-law was like bewildered because the great rabbi was in his 80s already, so the recovery should not have been as fast, but it is what it is. Until a great rabbi who was a friend of his father-in-law came to visit and told him an old Hasidic story from Rabbi Uri of Strelisk. Rabbi Uri of Strelisk was a great rabbi, and he was pondering and spending many hours trying to study and understand a piece of the Talmud. And he was really working hard in trying to understand it, until finally it was a man who came into his house with a letter. And he opened the letter, and the letter explained exactly what his problem was in understanding this section of the Talmud and laid it out beautifully. And he said, who are you? And he says, this is a letter from heaven. They saw that you were in so much pain about not understanding that they sent me down to give this to you. Explain the piece of Talmud you were trying to understand. And he was bewildered. He said, what? How did you get that job of delivering these letters? He says, well, that's its own story. But the bottom line story was, I had been raised religious and I went away far from it, and I sinned and I did many things, and I joined the Russian army. And one day, my fellow soldiers were acting very loud and having a party of a time, and I walked over to see what was happening, and there was a Jew that they picked on, and they were beating him up, and they were having fun at his expense. And he was pleading with them, please, I have a family, leave me alone, let me go. And they just didn't do that. And in fact, they decided to hang him. And here was this man, and he didn't know what to say because he knew that he was outnumbered and outgunned. and he felt very badly, but he was watching from afar. And when they hung this man, they left, and he quickly ran and took the man down and revived him. The guy, he hadn't died yet, and he said, "Run for your life, get out of here, go far away." And what ended up happening was, when the soldiers came back, they saw that the Jew that they had hung escaped. They pinpointed him and said, "Yeah, you're a Jew also," and they ended up hanging him. So he died. So he went up to heaven. They didn't know what to do with him, and the bottom line was, on one hand, he had sinned and did many sins and did things wrong, but on the other hand, he worked so hard to save and sacrificed himself to save human life. So they gave him this job. You're going to have a room in heaven, and whenever a great righteous person needs something, you're going to be delivering that letter. And that's what he did. And this rabbi said, that's the story. And this rabbi friend of the rabbi who had the surgery says, I think that's what happened with you too. And that's who that doctor was. And you got a letter from heaven saying you can take the surgery. And the rabbi was upset, said, why are you telling secrets for? You shouldn't be saying these things. And in the end, that's the story. He was given a letter from heaven to go ahead with the surgery. And the doctor that came down wasn't really a doctor. It was this man who had sacrificed his life to save a fellow Jew. And therefore he was spared and healed easily and quickly. So the lesson for us is very powerful. This is the parasha that teaches us not to speak ill about other people, and we should learn the laws of not speaking ill when we can and when we can't from the works of the Chafetz Chaim. Again, translated very well now. You can get this in your local Jewish bookstore. And also the idea of self-sacrifice for a fellow Jew and doing what we can to help each other and be kind to each other and respect each other. Have a wonderful Shabbos and a great Chodesh, a wonderful new month for you and the entire Jewish people.